Welcome back to Musicians Edition. Today we're looking in the Mallets side of our Essential Elements book at number 100. Okay? The main thing we're going to focus on, which you can see in your book here, is what we see in the yellow box at the top of the page. And it says the word phrase, right? And a phrase, just like it says in the box, is a musical statement, right? Or kind of like a musical sentence. And in the box it says often 2 or 4 measures long. That is the case most of the time, although you'll have phrases that are longer than that or different lengths than that. 2 and 4 measures is a pretty typical length for a musical phrase, right? Or a musical sentence or a musical statement, right? Now, a lot of times we can rely a little bit on our musical instincts to be able to kind of tell where a phrase feels like it's come to completion, right? Just in the same way that when we talk, we can kind of feel when we should pause, when we should keep going, when we're speaking, right? When those kind of natural conclusions come when we're speaking, right? We can hear the same thing musically and tell kind of when the musical phrase has come to completion or when it's come to a resting point, right? So in number 100, you can see we have two measure phrases kind of bracketed off, right? So the first thing we're going to do is kind of work through the notes here, and then you can see there are some written dynamics that are going to kind of help us shape this phrase a little bit, right? So in the first measure, we play a crescendo, and in the last measure, we play a decrescendo back down to piano, okay? That's going to help us a little bit kind of identify what we need to do with those phrases, okay? But the first thing is we're going to figure out these notes, figure out some stickings. That way then we can come back and kind of figure out what where those natural breaks are in the music and how to deal with those. Okay? So here we go from the beginning. We have G, A, B flat, A, G. Okay? That's measure 1. Measure 2 looks a little bit tricky. We've been talking a little bit in our other videos about skips and leaps and steps, right? So if you look from D to G, we have a leap, right? All the way from D to G at the beginning of measure 2. And then we have a skip that goes from G to B flat, and then we skip back down to G, step to A, right? So we have all 3 versions of those skip, step, and leap in that one measure there, right? So it's going to be a little bit tricky, and we're probably going to have to figure out what kind of sticking we want to use here, right? D, G, B flat, back to G, and then A. One option would be start with our left hand and alternate all the way through. Okay, that might work okay. We could also start with our right hand. And it seems like that lays pretty well too, right? One other option could be we start with our left hand and then play 2 right hands at the end. So left, right, B flat with the left, and then G, A both with the right hand. Okay? And I think what that gives me is less jumping around with each hand. Each hand can kind of stay a little bit more stationary. My left hand just has to go from D to B flat, and my right hand just has to deal with G and A, right? And so I think that's the sticking I'm going to use there. Left, right, right. Okay? So let's play the first 2 measures there, or what we would call the first phrase, and put this together, okay? Ready, go. All right. Now, once you practice that a couple times, let's move on to that second phrase, or our second musical statement here, right? So we have B flat, A, G, 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 A, B flat, G, right? So we're moving all in steps here, except for that last skip from B flat back down to G, right? So fairly simple here. Let's try it. Last 2 measures. Ready, go. Okay, and if we just start with the right hand on beat 4 on the 2 eighth notes, right, left on the 2 Gs, then that sets us up to play the last measure as right, left, right, up to the B flat with the left hand, down to G with the right. And that lays pretty well, even though your left hand is going higher than your right, since it's on a flat, it makes space with your left hand moving up here to get down to G with your right hand. So let's play that last measure as right, left, right. Okay? All right. Now, let's put the whole thing together, and then as we're doing this, we're going to listen to the melody and see if we can hear those two different musical sentences, right? Here we go. Ready, go. All right. Now, hopefully you heard those two different ideas, right? The first one is working our way up in the first measure, up and then back down. And the last one, we're working our way down and then back up and back down, right? The first phrase, we're working our way dynamically, we're working our way up, right? So we're moving in this direction. And the second phrase, we're moving in this direction, right? So a lot of times with phrases, we need to think about where this phrase is leading to or where it's coming away from. And as we put these two phrases together, we have a nice musical arc that takes us from piano up to mezzo forte, and we hang out there for a little bit, and then we come back down, right? So we kind of start the story, give the main point of the story, and then end the story, musically speaking. Okay? Let's try that one more time, and let's see if we can hear kind of how that musical story unfolds, or how this musical sentence is stated and put together. Okay? Here we go, last time through. And ready, go. All right, so that's number 100. Now that we've had this concept of phrase pop up in our book, we can always be thinking about how the music is put together as we're playing it, right? We can think about where the resting points, where the dividing points are in the music, whether the phrases are taking us in an upward direction or a downward direction, right? Or how kind of the musical arc is being shaped by the different phrases that we encounter on the page. All right, so happy practicing, and I will see you next time.